Cynthia Clark. I'm an acupuncture physician, applied clinical nutritionist. I'm the creator of Energy Evolution, and I'm the president of Longevity Wellness. And tonight we are talking about night sweats and hot flashes. And every single time I teach one of these classes, the weirdest thing happens, which is somewhere in the week before the presentation, I get to experience this. So even though I never get night sweats, last night I couldn't fall asleep, woke up in the middle of the night, sweating my booty off, and had to sit and think about everything that I'm going to say tonight. And so this is very well digested information that is fresh and coming to you live from the meditative process. Welcome. Okay, so how many of you have experienced night sweats or hot flashes ever in your life? Okay, good. And what was one of the first things that you tried? Whipping yourself, yes. Smart, good. Ice pack under the knees is a popular one. What are some of the other first things that you tried for night sweats or hot flashes?
I looked it up online.
You looked it up online?
And
But what did you do first before you learned all that stuff? So you had your first hot flash and you went straight to the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely that we have so much internet right at our fingertips these days, isn't it? Yeah, and Googling can be really good, and it can also, sometimes we find things that don't work. And then we get frustrated and confused because it's like, I'm doing all of the things that the internet says, and it's not working still, and that can be really frustrating. So tonight I want to talk to you about an approach that is the Chinese medicine approach to this. So it is very likely something that is novel and new and different for you, although the approach is thousands of years old. And it's why Chinese medicine has such excellent success in treating night sweats and hot flashes. And it goes like this. We have, in Chinese medicine, we have the yang, or if you're from down south, the yang, and we have the yin. And the yang is depicted by the sun, and the sunshine. It's the bright, and it's the movement. I always say, picture a little 4-year-old boy running into a room full of kids and going, everybody run around. That's pure yang energy. And then over on the yin side, we have the contemplative, we have the reflective. And in that phase, we consider this to be the feminine part. So medically inside the body, yang is cellular metabolism. It's repair and rebuild. It's movement at a cellular level. And medically inside the body, the yin is the substance. So this is our fluid. This is blood. This is body fluids. Maxine, you don't have to hang out by the camera unless you really want to. You look lovely back there, but welcome to the party. So we have the yang and the yin. And as I'm sitting there last night, in the middle of the night, I'm thinking about how Chinese medicine historically describes both sleeplessness and because what happens when you wake up in the middle of the night, right? You don't just wake up and go phew, and glow for a moment and then quickly fall back asleep. What does happen? Right, you're pulling covers off, you're hot, you might get cranky because you're hot, you're pulling covers off, and you're not going off, and you might have a presentation that you have to do after work the next day, so you got to be on your best, and like none of this stuff is going as planned, right? So yeah, all this is going on, and so there's this agitation, right? The other thing that happened to me last night, which also never happens to me, is that I had a lot of trouble falling asleep. Okay, so trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, and then the night sweats are all indicative of what we call yang failing to enter the yin. All right, what do we mean by that? Because that sounds very esoteric. What are we talking about? All right, what's the yang again? Male. The male, right? What is it medically in the body? A little bit more. Blood is the yin. You're on the right track. Keep going, keep going. You've got this. You can help her out.
Elbow.
No. So because that's structure, and that's more on the inside. It's movement, cellular metabolism.
Like joints too, or just the movement?
So think about, so we're at a very, very granular level right now. We're talking about the cells inside the body. Movement in any type or shape is going to be considered a yang activity, but we're really wanting to look at our endocrine system. And in looking at our endocrine system, we're looking at this at a cellular and glandular level, the cells of our bodies. And so what we find is that these cellular movements, right, that's the yang, failing to enter the yin. What's the yin? So you're the yang side, ladies, or the yang ladies. Failing to enter the yin. What's the yin again? Good, excellent, and medically inside the body. It's like I pay you to learn this stuff. What is that in the body? I know it's kind of hard, it's a little bit hard to hold on to, isn't it? Because they're new concepts to us. We don't really think about it that much. It's the blood. Right. So it's on the yin side. Yes, right. Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So what's yours, ladies? The yang side?
Movement.
Good. Cellular metabolism. Repair and rebuild. The movement inside the body. What's yours, ladies? Blood. Body fluid. Spit. The liquid that's in your eyes. All of these are going to be cervical fluid. All of these are going to be fluid as related to the body. Okay, so we've got the yang and we've got the yin. And when we try to go to sleep at night, what's supposed to happen is as the sun, which is yang, good, as the sun, which is yang, sets, it falls into the yin phase, which is moon nighttime. So the sun rules the day, the moon rules the night, so yang is daytime and yin is night. So the yang is supposed to come into the yin. And that means that what is supposed to happen is that we magically drift and float off into space, and we euphorically enjoy the entire evening in our unconscious state, and we wake up feeling refreshed and smelling like a rose. That's what happens when the yang properly enters the yin. How many of you have ever had that experience where you go to get ready for bed and I just gotta get one more thing done? And then it's 3 hours later. It's like, and I have more things now to do than I did 3 hours ago because I got a dozen half-open things that are all over the place, right? Okay, this happens, this is also called wired and tired. And this happens when the yang is failing to enter the yin. And that's the Chinese medicine description. In the Western medicine world, in the biomedical Western world, we might say that we might look to either the adrenals, or the liver, or the blood sugar, or the nervous system, and how well those are regulated together. Specifically, wired and tired late at night is usually an adrenal insufficiency sign. Waking up several times throughout the night is usually a liver sign, so there's a problem in that particular organ. All right, but we're going to jump back into Chinese medicine right now, and we're going to talk about this yang failing to enter the yin because I spent 2 hours meditating on this night. I'm going to share it with you. So the yang fails to enter the yin. What does this mean? So yang energy, what does yang energy really do for us? Oh, that's a good guess. Yeah, okay, get a little bigger picture for me. If I wake up in the morning and I am bounce out of bed and I feel fantastic, then that is the yang properly rising in me as the sun rises, right? As I rise. So that's the yang moving fluidly through me. If instead I wake up in the morning and and I kind of stare. I might think about getting out of bed. I might think about making myself a cup of coffee. I might think about all the stuff I have to do, and then it's 45 minutes later, and I've been lying in bed thinking for a while, claiming that this is meditation. What's happened here is that the yang is failing to rise. So in the same way that we have the yang failing to enter the yin, we can have the yang failing to rise in the morning with us. So it's just as important that the yang enter the yin properly as it is that the yin enter the yang phase. We need these phases, right? And whether it's okay, so this is why we have a fundamentally different way of looking at the body. We have a very different. Have you ever heard this description before? Maybe Google MD has. Right. It isn't anything that I ever heard before I went to Chinese medicine school either. In fact, they asked me all sorts of questions about my body and the goings-on that I had never considered before I went to Chinese medicine school. And then I learned to be a lot more observant about my body because I started learning a lot of things. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So we have the situation of the yin and the yang entering the body. Okay. What do we do about it? What are some of the things that you've tried that haven't worked, and then we'll get to the ones that have worked, and then why? Okay, what makes night sweats worse?
Eating spicy food.
Alcohol, spicy foods,
Caffeine.
caffeine. Okay, so let's look at this. If alcohol, spicy foods, and caffeine all make night sweats worse, what do you suppose they have in common? They increase yang, right? If yang is sun and movement and moving around, alcohol is number one for no matter how balanced your endocrine system is. If you have a good amount of alcohol that day, you are probably going to have night sweats that night if you are a woman. And even a man. Men have night sweats too. They just, call them manly sweats. Proud of them. So don't go and get any of that fixed, because that would be amazing. So alcohol is energetically very heating, which you know intuitively, right? You drink alcohol and you feel hotter. Yeah?
I wouldn't know.
You've never had any alcohol in your life.
I tried it when I was 15.
Okay,
I can't get it past my nose.
so what?
Really?
So picture the image of a drunk.
Yeah.
And usually you see that red nose.
Yep.
You see them like kind of. You can see. She's got a real specific picture. She's probably got it on her phone if you want to use it. They have a very specific pose, and it looks like they're heating up inside. It looks like you've got heat rising up, and this is. They can also have a tendency to be a bit livery, which means it's rising up. They're getting angry, and it's raws all over the place. Okay, so alcohol heats us up. Spicy foods, obviously, heat us up, right? What was the third one? Caffeine. Like you have caffeine and you want to run. You want to do more stuff, right? So that tends to make things go. Do you know that there is not a single study of all of the studies that are out there? Like for example, you take the herb ginseng, and there are over 200 ginsengicides in ginseng. So drug companies did this to try to figure out what the active ingredient in ginseng is, and you know what they found? Yeah, it's not one active ingredient. So you can't make a ginseng drug. You can't take a single molecule and go make a drug out of it, because it's the interaction of all of these different 200 ginsengicides. This is the art of our herbs and our food too, and it's why it's so bioavailable. It's why foods and herbs are so bioavailable to us, is because it's this interaction of all of these different active nutrients in it. Okay, I promised you that I'd be about 25-30 minutes. So I'm very time. I have a great relationship with time, and also it's easy for me to talk about this for a long time. So I just want to make sure I'm being timely. Okay. In the same way, do you know there is not a study that can show heat in chili peppers? There's no study that has ever been done that can say, this is the molecule that is hot. It feels like hot. This is the molecule that feels like hot, and it's in chili peppers. And the same molecule is in alcohol, and the same molecule is in caffeine. It doesn't work like that. And the reason that I'm making a point of this is because you all had this inherent knowledge before I started talking to you tonight. 90% of you knew that alcohol heats you up, and 100% of you knew that spicy foods would heat you up, and that caffeine makes you go, 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 right? And yet no study had to be done to show you that. I peruse studies, I read them all the time. My current favorite one is one on an 8-herb Chinese herbal formula for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. This will put you to sleep instantaneously. And also, while all of this evidence is very, very beneficial, you have an innate knowing and you have an innate understanding. So, all right, so now let's get back to the how does this work? So, I had a lady who came to me and she was about 60 pounds overweight, and she had endocrine disorder in the case of her thyroid was really out of balance. And she did one of our purification detoxification programs. And over the time that she did that program, she started with the purification detox. She didn't have to keep doing that program, but she and her husband both each lost 60 pounds as they worked with us. Now, while they lost weight, that actually wasn't our goal. Our goal is to fix their bodies in such a way that they were working the way they were supposed to. Your body's number one goal, do you know what your body's number one goal is? Yeah, it's to keep you running. Do you know what your body's last of the list goal is? You do, because I think we talked about it the other day.
What? I don't know.
Yeah, your body's last priority is weight loss. Because your body's job is to keep you running, it's to keep you safe, it's to keep your heart safe, it's to keep your nervous system safe. And it's only after all of those things are done that it's like, okay, God can let go of some stuff. It's like a hoarder. It's like, I need to keep these molecules because they might have something that I need. And the downside of that is that some of those molecules, howdy.
You're gonna hear a talk on hot flashes, so.
That's fine. I'm open.
So what happens in this situation is that our bodies like hold on to these molecules and they go, maybe sometime I'm gonna need something in there. And it's not until everything else is running smoothly, and especially when you add in exercise, which is not only phenomenal for getting the circulation moving, decreasing inflammation, but it's also excellent for the detoxification process because you're communicating with those fat cells and they are releasing toxins that have been stored in for quite a while. So, okay, so that's a very yang activity in a body. And so when we go back to the night sweats and the hot flashes, okay, so we have, what's the root cause of night sweats? Close. You're like 80% of the way there. I want to hear it said. Because
Yang is not going into the yin.
Yang is not going into the yin. Okay. And the reason that you remembered it that way is because we've talked a lot about the yang and we haven't talked very much about the yin. So we've talked about the yin as like the blood and the body fluids. What really is that in the body and how do we nurture that? We kind of know how to nurture yang, don't we? What are some good ways to nurture yang? To increase your yang? You're here doing it tonight. Exercise, yes. Exercise is a great way to increase your yang. Caffeine will also increase your yang, and there's a bunch of herbs and adaptogens that will help increase your yang. And they are generally interpreted as give you energy, and so people like them. Some people they're the right things for, some people not. I was just talking to a client yesterday, her husband had taken the supplement and was like, oh my God, this is the best thing on the planet. This gave me so much energy. This is fantastic. You gotta take this, you gotta take this, you gotta take this. I'm just like, no, I don't really think it's the right thing for me. And he's like, oh man, you gotta take this. And so finally, like 6 weeks later, she takes it and it wrecked her, right? What was awesome for the dude with his particular health situation was horrible for the chick with her particular health situation because she has a very different body. Okay, so let's talk about yin. How might we nourish yin? So if yin is cellular hydration, you didn't know it was going to be a cup quiz. Water! Water is going to be number one. And there's more to this story. So one of the pieces that's more to this story, I know, there's something that happens that when we start talking about cellular dehydration, everybody goes, all right, we can keep talking now. So we live in Florida, where it is a damp, hot climate, and there's this funny thing that happens So usually, if you were doing this exercise outside, then you would heat up and you would sweat, and then what would happen?
Eventually you cool down.
You would cool down. But we live in Florida, where it is very, 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 very humid. So what happens instead?
They heat it up.
That's right.
And you get hotter.
That's right. You're absolutely right. It's like this greenhouse effect. So we sweat, and then the sweat never evaporates unless you are lucky enough to be in a beautiful facility such as this, where it's much healthier because the sweat evaporates and we cool down, and it doesn't damage our fluids in the same way. The night sweats come from damaged fluids. It comes from yang failing to enter the yin over time. Because over time we get hotter and hotter and hotter, and we're boiling inside, even though it doesn't seem like it. We're walking around, we're normal, we just might like a little bit cooler at night sometimes. So we do this thing where we heat ourselves up, and then we sweat, and then we're stuck with it. So it isn't okay. Also, what's the composition of sweat?
Salt water.
There's a bunch of stuff in it. Yeah, there's salt, there's potassium, there's all sorts of minerals. So it's not this.
Right.
But what do we drink? This.
Which doesn't replace get a cellular level.
Which doesn't replace the cellular level. Can I pick on you for a second? Yes. Okay, so we have something over here that somebody is drinking to replace some mineral levels. Can we see this bottle? And I'm going to start out by saying this is not a very good choice.
First ingredient is sugar.
The first one is reverse osmosis water. The second ingredient is sugar. And that's
There's another one. They were of the. What, the vitamin water, like maybe 10 calories or something? I don't know.
But then they replace the sugar with chemicals and it's worse.
Right. This
It
has
really throws off.
this has
I don't think it's.
27 grams of sugar in it, which is like unfair because it's marketed
Kool-Aid.
as a sports drink, right? And it does have some stuff in there that's good for you, but the price you're paying for it is the sugar is going to whack out the endocrine system, and it's also
Make you sweat more.
going to make you sweat more. That's exactly right.
Don't just throw it away now.
And then it doesn't
Make
have,
yourself a bottle of water.
and it doesn't really have, like, this is not anywhere near the composition of sweat. So I am also a triathlete, and in April I did a half Ironman. So I spend a lot of time sweating. This morning, Maxine came into the office, and I had taken over one of the bathrooms with all of my really sweaty clothes, including my underpants. Because, like, I mean, for crying out loud, they're just like soaked, and you gotta put them somewhere. And like, I'm so tired of my car smelling like a really bad gym locker, and I don't want to use a bunch of weird chemicals. Thanks for essential oils, we have some remedies for that. But okay, so we sweat out these minerals, and here's the tip. Here's the secret to the body. This is the secret to how the body works and cellular hydration and how it works. It's very simple. I want you to repeat this after me. Where salt goes, water will follow. Good, say it again. Where salt goes, water will follow. And you probably know this if you've ever overdosed on salt and then gotten swollen, right? Have you ever had that water retention thing? And it's like, I did not gain 5 pounds overnight. That's not fair. That's not
that much.
right. I didn't have that much. There you go. Right. So you know where salt goes, water will follow. And so if we're just drinking water and we're sweating a lot, then we're not actually replacing the substance that is exiting our body, nor are we replacing it with sugar water. Right. This is not the substance that's exiting our body. Okay. So how do we nourish you? So we've got water. You know, that's part of the equation. What else do we need? We basically talked about it. Yeah, we need electrolytes, we need minerals, we need salts. And these are very important things. These are also important in the equation of balancing the yin and yang in the body. And I have to tell you, these things will help, but in the solving of night sweats, very commonly, it's not enough. It is step one and you have to do it. You absolutely have to drink water. If you have night sweats and you drink alcohol, you will absolutely have more night sweats that night, without question. If you have a bunch of sugar, you will absolutely have more night sweats that night. I have conducted this experiment on myself multiple times, so I can tell you my favorite night sweat causing foods. It's like, no, that's probably not what I want to do right now. The reason that that's very dangerous over time is because those night sweats that we experience, that's a little bit inconvenient. What's happening is we're continuing to burn up those fluids, which, like I said earlier, that greenhouse effect that happens in Florida, we're already burning up fluids. And those fluids, oh, I forgot to pass it on. Would you be so kind? And those fluids are continuing to burn up inside. Ways that we can nurture that, in addition to the water and the electrolytes and the salts, as level one, is through specific herbs that nourish yin. And now we get into some Chinese herbal formulas and Chinese herbs. And this is a truly different way than you have approached this in the past. These are herbs that are known as things like Shudi Wang, Shengdi Wang, Wu Wei Tse. These are very powerful herbs to help nourish in, but they are not meant to be used as single herbs. So one of the fundamentally cool things about Chinese medicine and Chinese herbal medicine is that it is a strong, robust art that builds these single herbs into formulas together. She's like, I'm done with water. Her retiring nun. So when we combine these herbs together, we have the ability to properly nourish the yin so that the yang can properly enter the yin. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so what's your favorite thing you've learned tonight? Water, 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 except I didn't actually say that. I know, it sounds like I did. I agree with you that it sounds like I did. However, what we talked about was that the substance that you sweat out is not the same as the substance that you take in with water, and that electrolytes are one step and a necessary step to helping to manage the problem, but to really fix the underlying problem of the yang not entering the yin, then you want to work with a Chinese herbal medicine doctor. And the reason for that is because the palliative, the step as you go, this is yang failing to enter the yin is one of the fundamental disharmonies that quickly happens from there. We call this separation of qi and blood, separation of yin and yang. And it's not supposed to happen. And the reason it's really important is because we continue to dry up inside, and that might lead to things like vaginal dryness is one of them, as a side symptom of this. But also things like cognitive decline. Because if our bodies aren't being nourished, our brains aren't being nourished. We're not getting the right amount of blood flow. And Lord knows running your own business is hard enough without getting the blood flow to the right places. So this is why it's so important, is because to properly nourish the body, we want to nourish in. And there's a little bit more to this, which is that here in Florida, we live in this very damp, humid climate, and there's a tricky bit about nourishing yin here. And the reason for that is because in this damp, hot climate, it's very, very easy for us to get too damp, and then we're swollen. We've got fluid stuck in the interstices, but it's not moving fluid through us properly. So this is why Chinese medicine is an art, is because we have such tremendous capacity to strengthen the yang and strengthen the yin, and we do this in an iterative sequence over time. And the reason for that is because, quite honestly, your body is different every single day. In fact, you have a different body now from the time that we started this talk. The reason for that is because, does anybody know what % of your cells are human?
I'm hoping 100%, but as far as human goes.
That's what I thought too. And then I read this study. It turned out that we have our human cells in this, and then we have our bacteria. You know, we take probiotics. We pay good money to buy these things. Fungus, parasites, viruses. Actually, these are all part of what we consider the human microbiome. And by count, not by size, human cells are big, but by count, we're actually only 10% human. You're all aliens. Yeah, we're 90% other stuff. We're 90% parasites, fungus, virus, and bacteria. And I don't know if you've ever come down with a cold and felt like not doing anything, or maybe you've had the stomach flu and a little bit after that, you just kind of felt a little flat, like your emotions didn't come back or your zest for life didn't come back. That's because our hormones, our feelings are made in our gut, and when that terrain changes, then the way that we experience life changes. So it's a huge, I know, right? It's a huge thing. A few years back, a couple decades ago, we were very vested in this Human Genome Project. Remember the Human Genome Project? So the news of the Human Genome Project is that we are not very different from rats. Our genome is almost identical except for a couple things. And so then we switched to the Human Microbiome Project because we said, okay, if it's not our genetic coding that makes us so different, what is it? And that's when we shifted to studying our microbiome, and we realized what a significant impact that had on our life. So, okay, thanks for letting me have my little shock
I
value.
just learned about this in class 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's exciting! Which class?
I've been to be a radiology tech, so, yeah.
Awesome. So you're learning about how to find it, what it looks like. That's great. Great. Yes. So what we've talked about. Okay. So one more time, night sweats are caused by yang failing to enter the yin. Yeah. And hot flashes are caused by
Specific items, or I mean, hot flashes are caused by.
hot flashes, right? If night sweats are caused by yang failing to enter the yin, then hot flashes are caused by too much yang. The same sort of thing, but it's a different time of day. So our yang is supposed to be more, but our yin is really lacking in substance. So it's really the same fundamental principle with the yang feeling to enter the yin. It's just that it's even more pronounced. We're also having hot flashes in addition to the night sweats. Okay, what are foods you can avoid if you're having night sweats?
Alcohol.
Spicy foods, alcohol, caffeine, right? All of these will help. Will they address the underlying root cause of what's going on? Good. Clear on that. And what will? And why is that dangerous? Why is it important to address the underlying root cause of night sweats and hot flashes?
Because if you don't, it can wreck your endocrine system.
Why?
Because it stresses the organs.
What's causing the stress on the organs?
Lack of nutrients or balance of those things.
Why?
Because we're sweating out, not replacing them. So
Yeah, because we're burning it up inside. We're just getting hotter and hotter. Ladies, we are hot, and we just keep getting hotter in life. For reals. It's not as good a thing as it sounds like. So yeah, so we're burning it up inside. Good. Okay, what questions do you have?
we need to fix it.
Ready to fix
Or
it?
make it better, I don't know if we can fix it.
Yeah. Because bodies are individual and unique, there is not a one-step answer to that. In fact, over the many years that I've studied and practiced this, the formulas, the treatments that resolve hot flashes in individuals,
Different for everybody.
they really are. They really are. So this is an offer to you, and this is an offer to come see me in clinic. And here's what we do when you come see me in clinic. Well, first of all, this piece of paper that you're holding is it's worth $150, but it's a Cinderella piece of paper because it will turn into a pumpkin when I walk out that door. So this is for signing up tonight. And here's what you receive in our initial evaluation. First, we do a number of functional medicine exams that Maxine does, and she tests your zinc levels, your calcium tissue tests, well, unless Maxine isn't there, and then I'm the one that does it. And your adrenal functioning, which we can do through, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this before, the flashlight. I know. So there's a whole bunch of these really cool tests. They're fast and free that they don't teach in medical school. For example, you shine a flashlight in somebody's pupil, and if the pupil stays constricted like it's supposed to, it's a bright light, right? Pupils are supposed to close up. If it stays constricted, that means that you're doing good. If it closes and then it opens up, then that tells us that we have a problem with your body regulating and adapting to change, and that comes from a malnutrition in your adrenal glands. So that's one of the tests that we do. We can identify how much calcium is in your tissues. We can identify, also we do a blood pressure adrenal test. And we do a test that is unique to our clinic, and it's called a heart sound recorder. And what this is that we're looking at is we're looking at a digital outreading of the sound of your heart. So this is loved up, loved up, loved up. That's what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, but this is a PQRST test.
Right.
Yep, this is a digital outreading of the sound of the test, of the sound of the heart. So PQRST is going to be a little bit more broadly spaced,
Right.
and it's not going to have the loved up in there. So this is why it's unique to our clinic, because nobody else, I confirmed this the other day, nobody else in Sarasota, Bradenton area has one. Of course, somebody in Orlando that has one. And so what this tells us is we can see nutritional deficiencies that reflect in the rate, rhythm, and tone of your heart. So we do that as part of your initial exam. We do the full applied kinesiology exam, which is the muscle testing exams. And then it also includes your full report of findings, and it includes a free blood test evaluation. So that's not the draw, that's just bring us your blood work that you've had done before. And I've created my own computer program so that we can go over the landscape of the health of your blood work, and we can see where you are, and we'll talk about it. So it's more information than you will ever have gotten from anybody any time before. So to take advantage of this, then you just need to put name, phone number, and email right there, and then as it says on the bottom, hand it to Maxine, and she will get you scheduled. And what questions? Danielle, I know that this was really your gig. We were chatting in clinic, and it was like, this is something that's really interesting to me. I would like to learn more about it.
I don't have the night sweats as much as, I think I went through them and I didn't even realize that it was, I just thought, I don't think I even thought about it, honestly. I just had them and I dealt with them, and I don't really have them that much anymore. I have just a whole lot of other symptoms, so.
What are your other symptoms?
Inflammation, joint pain, that's my biggest.
So is inflammation hot or cold?
Hot.
So would that be yang or yin? Is it possible that Danielle's same root cause of what was causing her night sweats before is now causing her inflammation?
Possible?
Yeah. It's kind of funny when we think about it in these like simplistic terms. It is said that Western medicine, very difficult to learn, very easy to practice. It's like, well, you're gonna get this medicine or this medicine. Dermatology, it's like you're gonna get antibiotics or you're gonna get steroids. Very easy to practice, right? Chinese medicine, very easy to learn,